So we have millions of hard drives. So we're kind of dealing on a different scale, and cost is very, very large. And making a mistake on costs can cost our company a lot of money. And we're in competition too, so we have to be able to beat our competition. When we get through this, you might see that the economics might indicate that we might want to go to tape. We want to kind of look out into the future and say, okay, if we're going to get into the zettabyte range, what does that look like? And how do you store it, and what are the costs? When you think about the future, how cheap are things going to get? How quickly are they going to get that cheap? And what does that mean? If we tried to store the data we have in the cloud today, the way we stored it 7 years ago, it would have taken all of Microsoft's cache. But then the question is, why do you want to store a zettabyte? So it shouldn't be a secret. Smartphones are popular, and people take a lot of pictures. This is how many I take. So if everybody in the world was me, it would generate 7.3 exabytes per year that had to be stored. Well, I don't need a zettabyte for that. There's talk about the Internet of Things, Internet of Everything. Certainly the video cameras will generate the most data. These cameras are just going to continue to get bigger and better. It's not going to take much to get to zettabytes. So whenever we store data, there's redundancy. Our best storage system today, including georeplication, for every bit that's stored, we need 2.6 bits. So I don't need a zettabyte to store a zettabyte, I need 2.6 zettabytes. So this is a point about tape, is that, how is it that the hard drive guys are, capping out at, 10, maybe 12 terabytes, and tape is, just cruising through demonstrating 220. And the answer, as was pointed out earlier, is just surface area. So I think in terms of credibility, tape has a much more credible roadmap, and one that's easier to get to with not as much investment. So one of the biggest advantages of tape is that it gets removed from its media, and this is also true of optical. So the most expensive part of your system gets reused for all your media types, and if you have cold data, putting cold data on a hard drive is a little silly because you've got basically chips, computers, all this stuff to read and write that data, and if it's cold, you're not using it to read and write the data. So now let's get to the graphs. So you can see here that the graph on the left shows flash, and you can see that it's just way out there in terms of its price. So you can see those numbers comparing optical and tape, comparing to hard drive, and you can see the tape hard drive comparison. It's just very clear that tape is the best solution for archived data. So in summary, we found that data growth will always exceed what we expect. And the cheaper it gets, the more people will use it and use it more. So I expect us to be storing zettabytes in 2020. And we work in a world where we have lots of competition and we have an open market. And if there's a better technology for handling a particular workload, as a person selling it and reselling it, you have to use it. It's that simple. So any assertions that any of the cloud vendors aren't going to use tape are wrong. They're all going to be using tape. And they're going to be using it at a scale that's never been seen before, which means that the entire tape ecosystem will go to a level that's never been seen before, and the cost structure should go to a level that's never been seen before, which helps everybody.